Coming up on BCN today, reaction from many groups about the impact of the upcoming budget cuts. And wildfires are ravaging many areas of both Northern and Southern California. And the leader of ISIS dead. We have more details.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Monday. From wind to snow, Southern Alberta is seeing its share of crazy weather this October. Extreme wind on Fridays forced semi-tractor trailers off the road. This was the scene on northbound Highway 2 outside of Nanton Friday afternoon when winds that were recorded at over 156 kilometers per hour pushed a trailer over, including the cab and its driver. There were no injuries reported. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection says conditions statewide are making California a tinderbox. A fire that started quickly this morning and quickly grew to about 160 hectares has destroyed some homes on the west side of Los Angeles. Mayor Eric Garcetti says so far there have not been extensive losses. About 3,300 homes are threatened in the Mountain Gate, Mandeville, Canyon, and Bundy areas in western LA County. Lakers star LeBron James tweeted this morning that he and his family had to leave his house. Meanwhile, nearly 200,000 people have been ordered from their homes in Northern California, where a wildfire has burned at least 85 square miles since it started last Wednesday.
Right now, the wind continue to be a challenge for us. We're prepping this area right now for structure defense in the event that the fire does make a run with a wind-driven event towards this subdivision. Foothill Park is actually right up the road here. They do have a firing operation going on up there. They're laying fire down on the ground to eliminate some of the fuel between this subdivision and the main fire that'll slow it down or keep it in check and keep it away from the homes. This is a classic urban interface fire where the subdivisions and the houses have been built into the wildland area. It's a fire that we encounter here in California on a pretty frequent basis. Primarily what they're doing is they're trying to remove all the combustibles away from the structure. If there's propane tanks, we'll turn the propane tanks on. If there's patio furniture or anything up against the structures, we'll move that away from the structures. They'll actually, if they can, they'll enter into the structure. They'll make sure that all the windows and doors are closed. They'll pull the curtains closed and everything and just make the interior of the house more defendable as well. Well, right now, this is the #1 priority fire in the state. We ordered an additional 200 engines to the fire yesterday. Those resources continue to come in through the night. As soon as those resources get here, they're being deployed onto the line to make a good defensive stand in these neighborhoods.
Just hours after U.S. Special Forces killed the head of the Islamic State group, a Syrian Kurdish commander says his forces have killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's right-hand man and spokesman. If confirmed, the death would be another blow to ISIS. The British-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights is also reporting the death of Abu Hassan al-Muhajir, saying that he was traveling in a convoy made up of an oil tanker and a sedan. The Canadian Cancer Society is praising new plain packaging rules for cigarette packs as the best in the world. Health Canada's regulations take effect on the 9th of next month. The new rules say all packaging must feature the same brown base color, basic gray text, and minimalist layout. It's part of a global push to curb the appeal of cigarette brands, particularly among young people. The 25-year-old driver charged with manslaughter in the deaths of 39 people found in the back of his truck has made a brief first court appearance. Maurice Robinson of Northern Ireland is charged with 39 counts of manslaughter, 2 counts of conspiracy to facilitate human trafficking, and other crimes. He is expected to enter a plea at his next court appearance on November 25th. British police initially thought the victims were Chinese, but as many as 24 Vietnamese families have since reported missing relatives. Police in Edmonton are investigating a body that was discovered on a baseball field. They say a passerby spotted the body of a male in the Collingwood neighborhood yesterday morning. There weren't any indications whether it was criminal or not. Police ask anyone who might have information about the case to contact them. An injured Humboldt Broncos player is heading to Thailand for spinal surgery. Ryan Strechnitsky will depart on a 12,000-kilometer journey to Thailand later this week for a medical procedure that could help restore some movement after being paralyzed in the Humboldt Broncos bus crash. Strechnitsky was paralyzed from the chest down in the bus crash that killed 16 people and injured 12 others. After the implant is placed in his back, a small device like a remote control sends electrical currents to the spinal cord to stimulate nerves and move his limbs, bypassing traditional pathways.
I think just to come back better than I was the day before, right? I mean, this is the best technology out there right now for spinal cord injuries, and I think, why not give it a shot? I'm going to look for a gym there, what I normally do, try and keep active, and I know they have physio and stuff after the surgery to get those muscles going and kind of work on that mapping stuff, but at the same time I want to work on those sled-related muscles and, get in my sled and just kind of try and enjoy myself there and not get too bored.
With the epidural stimulation in Thailand, when Ryan arrives, they will do their final medical clearance, and then he starts straight away into the program with surgery where the device will be implanted. And from there, he then transitions straight into some pretty intensive rehabilitation with the team in Thailand. So the device is mapped in functional movement, so in standing, in stepping, in sit to stand. And then that's when we're able to gauge the output that is needed for Ryan to be able to contribute to that movement. So with Ryan's level of injury, again, it's difficult to say, but what we're hoping to see is that with some assistance that he'll be able to initiate more movement, and maybe this will translate to more functional movements for him in sit-to-stands or in transfers or movements such as that. So is the expectation for him to be able to walk again? I would not say that that's what we're aiming towards, but we're really priming his body to receive therapy and to, like I said, initiate a little bit more so that he can be more functional and independent in his own life.
We'll see what this surgery can do for him. Basically, just want his midsection going to get a better quality of life and be a day by day while we're out there. He's always been like that. When he has a goal, he always tries to achieve it. Never a straight path for him. It's always a curve, but he always tries to achieve it.
I'm really excited for him. I think it's a fantastic opportunity, and from all the reports and everything else that we've seen, it's only a positive. There's only positive things to take away from it. If it gets him a little bit better quality of life, then we're all for it. I think he is handling the realism of this much better than I am. Any little thing would be, an improvement would be great. So I want everything for him, of course. I want him to be able to walk. Keeping in mind, you don't want to get your hopes up too high. Obviously, it's a tremendous positive step for him, literally.
Pretty amazing stuff. The unveiling of the first budget under Premier Jason Kenney has sent many reeling at the thought of cuts to services and increases to tuition. With the new budget, overall funds to advance education for Campus Alberta grants will be reduced by 5%. President and Vice Chancellor of the University of Lethbridge, Mike Mann, spoke about how the new Alberta budget will impact the U of L and its students.
Any significant budget reduction like this will feel significant. And so what that means, though, in terms of the specifics, I think is too early to say. But yes, a 3.2% reduction in our operating grant, 4.2% loss of IMP funding for 1 year. Those are significant numbers if you look at our overall budget. But having said that, we know as a university we'll figure out a path forward that will ensure that we continue to be successful as a university. So while it will be significant, it is not insurmountable in terms of our ability to deal with it, and we will deal with it.
The recent provincial government cuts will be challenging for both the college and students. That's the sentiment from Lethbridge College President Dr. Paula Burns. Burns says the college will review the changes and will work to ensure that post-secondary education remains affordable and accessible for all Albertans. Burns says they will begin their internal budget planning process over the next few days as they receive more details about their operating grant from the Ministry of Advanced Education. Lethbridge Mayor Chris Bierman spoke about the new Alberta budget and the need for more funding for law enforcement, rehabilitation, and prosecution.
There's $40 million outlined for the opioid response, and even though there are no specifics yet on where this will be invested, it's important that Lethbridge receives its fair share for treatment and recovery programs, as we are a community that has demonstrated great need on this issue. There's $50 million dedicated to law enforcement, along with 50 new prosecutors and programs to reduce crime. We want to make sure that Lethbridge receives funding for prosecutors so that crimes are prosecuted on a timely basis. We also hope that that means a translation into funding for the needed scan resources in our community so that we can shut down the drug houses and stop the supply of drugs flowing into our community.
Spearman hopes to dive deeper into the provincial budget in the near future to learn more about what it means for the city of Lethbridge. Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services continued their new recruit training program, but this time with a twist. BCN's Loris Alexander spoke with the fire chief, who said this course is meant to put a firefighter into difficult situations in order to learn how to maintain composure under stress.
The confidence maze is a maze, and it's designed to simulate some of the sort of emergency situations a firefighter could find himself in inside a structure.
It's simulated by blocking the trainees' masks, and then they go through a series of obstacles in the maze while still wearing their gear.
We want to make sure our firefighters are safe when they go into any type of structure, and to do that, we need to simulate some of the events that they might encounter. If we can train them to all the emergencies, we're hoping that the standard work that they do will become less anxiety, less stress for them.
It was a good experience going through the maze. It's always good to get used to getting in the tough spot like that, trying to get your body figured out so you can get out in a tricky spot if you never know when you're going to get it put into one of those.
Rathwell says they try to increase anxiety and stress while they go through the maze.
We've got elevation changes, so they go up and down through floors. When they're actually moving along the floors, we narrow the hallway. So what they're crawling through all of a sudden becomes half the size or a little bit less.
You got to really learn how to maneuver, get your body as small as you can, suck in a lot.
The trainees are nearing the end of a 12-week program and graduate on November 19th. For Bridge City News, I'm Loris Alexander.
Thank you, Loris. Chinook Hospital hosted its fall cleanup. People of all ages gathered to rake leaves and tidy up trash around the hospital. One volunteer says opportunities like these are a good way to get your foot in the door.
Hey, my parents are both doctors, and ever since I was a little kid, I went to work with them, and I just saw them working, and it just kind of inspired me to help other people. And so it sort of inspired me to also choose my career and which field I want to work in. So ever since I found out about what they do and everything, I started working towards my goal and becoming a physician like them.
The next annual cleanup will take place in the springtime. More than 24 young people from the group Our Time staged a brief climate change protest inside the House of Commons this morning. During a free tour of the building, group members sat down on the floor with protest signs and refused to move and urged MPs to prioritize a Green New Deal when Parliament resumes. Security quickly removed the protesters, who were handed a trespassing ticket and banned from Parliament Hill for 30 days. Well, it wasn't very much fun to wake up to all this snow in Lethbridge this morning, but flurries will be ending later on this morning. About 2 centimeters will have fallen by then, though. Complete weather details are coming up after the break, so stay with us. Welcome back. Here's a look at your weather highlights for Lethbridge today. Lots of flurries already this morning, but they should be tapering off later this late this morning. Possibly 30% chance of seeing more flurries later on today, with about 2 centimeters hitting the ground. -8 is the high today, and -7 is the high tomorrow, but no flurries at least. Looking ahead to the 5-day forecast, there are lots of sunshine on Wednesday, finally again. Back up into the plus temperatures, +4 on Wednesday, +1 on Thursday, with a mix of sun and cloud. Sunshine back in the forecast for Friday with a high of 3, and then some double digits possibly for the weekend with a high of 10 on Saturday and a high of 6 on Sunday with a mix of sun and cloud there. The high temperature this time of year should be around 10 degrees. The low temperature, -3. The highest temperature on this day, though, was in 1944. It was 23 degrees. And the lowest temperature was -26 Burr. That was back in 1991. The sun rose this morning at 8:13 a.m. and will be setting the 6:15 this evening. Looking ahead to the West Coast there, lots of sunshine on the West Coast today with highs of 11 degrees in Victoria and Vancouver. -6 though up in Edmonton with flurries. We've got flurries happening in Calgary as well today with a -7-degree temperature there. Saskatoon, it looks like we've got tons of snow happening all over the prairies today. Saskatoon is a high of -5, high of -4 in Regina today, and a high of 0 degrees in Winnipeg, but also flurries there as well today. Over in the east, we're seeing some sunshine in Toronto and Ottawa, +15 in Toronto, +12 in Ottawa, and a high of 13 degrees in Montreal, but they're seeing some showers there today. Looking over to the Maritimes, Fredericton will see some showers today as well with a high of 9, high of 10 degrees in Halifax, also chance of showers there. Lots of sunshine though up in Charlottetown with a high of 9 degrees. And St. John's in Newfoundland will see a high of 6 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud and also some showers there as well. That's your weather highlights. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. Looking for a fun place where you and your kids can play? Come for a fun family night Thursday evenings from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. to the Family Center in downtown Lethbridge. Me and My Family promotes learning through play and provides a safe place for kids to explore through physical activity, imagination, and creativity. For more information, visit famcenter.ca. Celebrate Recovery is a Christ-centered recovery program for any hurt, hang-up, and habit. This group meets Friday nights at the Park Meadows Baptist Church. The evening begins at 6 p.m. with supper and follows with an opportunity to share and connect with others in small groups. For more information, visit celebraterecovery.ca. Begin your Christmas shopping by coming to the Signatures Fall into Christmas event, November 1st to the 3rd at Exhibition Park North Pavilion. Browse this unique handmade marketplace featuring works of over 100 artists, artisans, makers, and designers from coast to coast. Admission is $5. Those 17 and under can enter for free. For more information, visit fallintochristmas.com. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
Junk email is one of the greatest headaches of the 21st century. And unsubscribing to all the unwanted mail is time-consuming and seldom effective. Today's daily life hack will give you a quick way of hiding almost all of your marketing messages. Simply set up a rule in your email program to filter by the word unsubscribe. Since most bulk sent emails have the word unsubscribe written in them somewhere, they will be easily caught by the rule. Sounds simple enough, and that's been your daily life hack. BCN visited the Lethbridge Animal Shelter and made friends with an adorable shepherd cross named Chewy. He was made available for adoption as of this morning. Here is Officer Sherry with BCN's Pet Feature.
Hello everyone, it's Officer Sherry here. Today I am with Chewy and we are trying to find him his forever home. He was a surrender to us about a month ago. This guy is a mutt, definitely has got some shepherd in him, but we're unsure with what else. He's a people person, he loves other animals, kids, you name it. He's a very happy-go-lucky dog. To view more adoptable pets, make sure to check us out on Facebook at Lethbridge Animal Services, or make sure to come on down to the shelter and hang out with some cats and dogs.
I might go down and adopt Chewy myself. He was so cute. The October Fiber event took place over the weekend at Center Village Mall in Lethbridge, bringing together local producers and those engaged in fiber arts, spinning, knitting, and crocheting. Spokesperson Sharon Lowen explains.
We wanted to connect the community with the fiber arts movement and different skills, so we are teaching how to spin and make yarn with a stick, crocheting, knitting, rug hooking, needle felting. We have a little bit of everything today. There's a variety of animals that we get fiber from. Kiviot is the muskox, which is normally in the north. We have some in Mountain View. So we have alpaca, llama, kiviot, sheep producers, all here today.
Anyone interested in learning to weave, knit, or crochet is welcome to drop in the Knitting Time store on the first and third Tuesday of the month. The last farmers market of October featured, naturally, a Halloween theme. There were plenty of interesting costumes on display and also a new local business with an unusual combination. Cotton candy made with natural and organic ingredients. David Watson, owner of Fluffly, tells us more.
It's made with 100% Southern Alberta beet sugar, and we actually come up with all our own flavors. So we've played around with oils and extracts and emulsions, and we work with 2 different labs in California to come up with new flavor recipes, and a lot of it's just trial and error. We're working on about 55 different recipes right now. We expect half of them not to work at all, and then of the half that work, we'll probably have 15 to 20% of those actually marketable flavors that really hit home.
Flavors range from organic peach to bacon-flavored cotton candy. I don't know if I'm adventurous enough to try that one. A caseworker at a Calgary assisted living residence is being remembered as a well-liked and well-respected colleague who was devoted to a career of helping. 47-year-old Deborah Onwu was stabbed to death over the weekend following what police say was a verbal and physical confrontation with a client. 18-year-old Brandon Newman has been charged with second-degree murder and remains in custody. The facility is run by Woods Homes, which provides treatment and support to children, youth, and families with mental health needs. 2 of the worst countries in the world when it comes to facing persecution of Christians are Pakistan and Algeria. That is according to Greg Musselman, who is a spokesman with the Voice of the Martyrs. Greg says many times Christians are taken captive in rural areas of Pakistan and forced into slave labor.
In rural areas, where the Christians are often forced, to be involved in the brick kilns, even the young children, to the adults, they're under severe persecution. They're forced into this slave labor. And, so again, as you go through the country, and it's a fairly large country, a very broken country politically and otherwise, is the challenge, though, for the Christians is that they just don't know when things could happen.
Watch the entire interview with Mr. Musselman and Hal Roberts coming up in the second half of our show right after the break. Stay with us.